Welcome out to Invesco Field at Mile High, the side of the 4A and the 5A state football championships. Of course, those games can be seen right here on CET. Along with Marty Cesario, I'm Brian Roth, and expecting two very good games coming up here this Saturday. Let's start with 4A. Valor Christian taking on Wheat Ridge. And before Marty and I give you our thoughts on the game, let's hear some of the thoughts from the two coaches that'll be on the sideline Saturday. Brent Wieselmeyer of Valor Christian and Reed Call of Wheat Ridge.
It was probably a little bit different for our kids starting 1-3. Going undefeated the year before, it's always tough, teaching some of those lessons, but, a little adversity popped our way, and really the response is the incredible things about our kids. They responded. We practiced even harder. There really wasn't any issues we had, and again, the rebound looked pretty good from where we're at now.
Fortunately, we're probably right now as healthy as we have been in quite some time. The two things we battled the most throughout most of the year were injuries and our youth. And I shouldn't say we battled our youth. We have a lot of young kids playing, so each week was a learning experience. But I would have to say that we are pretty healthy right now. Weeks 8, 9, 10, 11, we really weren't. We've had to move some people around a little bit. We've had guys that have moved positions and done a great job doing so.
Marty, you get the tradition of Wheat Ridge against the new kids on the block and Valor Christian. Valor has looked very good down the stretch. They dominated Broomfield.
Yeah, and I think that's where you got to focus on. In a game like this, and you talk about, I like the contrast. Wheat Ridge has been around the block. They got 2 state titles within the last 4 years. Valor, well, they haven't even played 4 seasons of football. Focus up front. That's really where you want to watch. That D-line for Valor Christian, they're just amazing. You're talking about guys like Javon Johnson, a man up front, and then, Stanley Gilbert. And they're going to have to chase down and knock down a running game at Wheat Ridge, which, of course, is led by Nick Osella, that quarterback. So the big key for me is, you're not going to be able to blast those Eagles from Valor Christian right in the interior. Osella's got to move around. Even the running back Swanson's got to get to the outside, and then it's up to those guys on the edges for Valor's defense to be able to stop those farmers outside.
It's going to be a great matchup of quarterbacks.
Yes.
And you have 2 of the best in the state. Nick Osella from Wheat Ridge has been Mr. Everything. And then Brock Berglund is committed to CU. We'll see how firm that commitment is when they find a new head coach. But he's committed to Colorado, and he's a guy that can throw and run.
Yeah, and what I liked about, the semifinal win, which we had here on CET, is that Berglund really, he's a great runner. I mean, he can certainly pick up big gains on his feet, but he didn't do any of that, via, straight running attack. It was him making little things to keep himself alive, keeping plays alive, and then looking downfield. He had 3 touchdown passes. That's the kind of things that he can do. Not only is he a great thrower, he's got a great arm. Certainly, as I mentioned, he can run, but he does those little things like just keeping his vision downfield and, maneuvering around the pocket to keep plays alive, and, most of the time it ends up in scoring opportunities for Valor.
Again, we'll have the 4A game here on CET tape delay broadcast. Comes up at 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon right here on CET 105. All right, going to the Class 5A game, and a couple of undefeated teams hooking up on Saturday. As Mullen, the 2-time defending state champion, they have won 32 consecutive games, taking on 13-0 Regis. They have won 19 of 20 games. Here's some of the comments from the head coaches, Dave Logan and Mark Nolan.
This has been a really great group of players and assistant coaches, and the one thing that we've been able to do this year, we have stayed focused on the task at hand. We haven't looked ahead. We've tried to focus in on and respect every opponent and get prepared as best we can for that upcoming game. So when you win games, you're going to have people that are excited to play, and we understand that. And but it's been, I think, one of the best teams that I've coached in terms of them being able to stay focused on what's important, really what's not important, and just being ready and getting prepared for each week.
When I said yes to the job at that moment in time, I was the only football coach who was going to be on campus and teaching, and so that was an obstacle that we knew about and we addressed. We've been able to hire some other educators that also coach football, and that's been incredible. The other thing that we wanted to do from moment one was move in a direction to incorporate everything the school is doing, the football players are doing on a daily basis in school, and incorporate that into the football program. In other words, that the football program would be an extension of the philosophy of the school. And a Jesuit philosophy is development of the total person, spiritually, intellectually, and physically.
Well, Marty, I guess the single question going into this contest, can Regis knock off Mullen? We thought coming into this postseason that there was only one team that might have a shot at doing it. It was Regis. Can they do it?
Right, and look where we are. We finally got what we wanted, what we've been waiting for, the big Raiders-Mustangs matchup. Can they do it? Can Regis stop Mullen? The answer is yes, they certainly can. In terms of physicality, in terms of what's going on down at the line of scrimmage, Regis can definitely man up. Mullen's, I always talk about that's where you need to be looking as far as why they're so great, is the line of scrimmage. Regis, that off-season weight program, the way those guys, their intensity, they can handle things. I think big plays, though, is where you see Regis really go over the top, if it's going to get done. Maybe a few mistakes by Mullen, if they can force that, and then maybe you use the passing game. Maybe Casey Young has like 2 long touchdown catches to where, that can put them over the top. That's where I'm looking at if Regis can take on Mullen.
Regis has to get a quick start.
Yeah.
Just as Pomona did last year. Of course, Pomona tried to hold on. They weren't able to do it as Mullen got the victory. And, well, on Saturday, we're going to see one of the great high school football careers come to an end in Adonis Amin Moore.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was going. If Regis can't jump ahead, and all of a sudden you get a situation like we've seen for 4 years where, 34 is just getting the ball and they've got a, 15, 20-point lead, watch out. And it is going to be amazing. It is a special moment. Coach David Logan had talked about it. It's the only kid he's ever had that started since he was a 9th grader, since he was a freshman. And look at the things he's done. He's just an amazing specimen to watch. Certainly, this will be his final game in Colorado at the varsity level. You definitely want to check out 3-4 Adonis. He's amazing.
Without question. The sun is out here today. It's supposed to be out again coming up on Saturday. Great weather for 2 what we expect to be great games. Ballard Christian, Wheat Ridge in 4A, and it's Regis and Mullen in 5A.